I had I've never told anybody this. I was just a little kid in high school, paddling, just paddling. And a guy coached by a basketball coach by the name of Joe Doyle. His family, I think, probably lives in Waterloo, but he was at Osage. And I was an okay athlete, not a great athlete, but okay. And all of a sudden he put his arm around me and said, hey, let's try to do this and all that. And that guy took me and gave me confidence and made me feel a part of school, made me feel a part of sports. And, I get to school every day and say, how you doing today? He called me Black Pat in those days. How's Black Pat today? And the way we'd go, that kind of got me going. I think, hey, if somebody can do that to me, then maybe it's my turn to give back. And while I'm talking to people, I'm done. It's their turn to give back. You take care of our young kids. Those young. No, I never call them kids. You take care of our young people. I don't believe in calling them kids. Call the young people because they're all really special and they need help. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're an athlete or not. Help them. They're not. No way they're going to be perfect. You help them. It's your turn now. My turn's gone. Your turn now. Get after them. Everywhere.
Excellence, defined as the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. For 47 years, Pat Mitchell brought excellence as the head football coach at Cedar Falls High School. With a combination of intensity, impeccable preparation, and enthusiasm, he put together a resume hard to duplicate. 344 wins, the fourth best in Iowa high school history. A state championship, and 25 playoff appearances. But perhaps Pat Mitchell's greatest accomplishment as a high school football coach is the impact he has made on so many.
Quality, caring individual. Kids are first no matter what. He always takes care of the kids first.
Cedar Falls football. I mean, he's been the face of the program for 40-some years.
He's a great guy, number one, and he's very deserving of everything that he gets.
He's a great storyteller. He's a people person.
He has to be as caring a coach, caring about other human beings as anyone I've ever been around.
He's kind of a coach's coach. He wants to help coaches become better, and of course to all these players to become better. I'll catch him after practice with someone that's not a starter, somebody in that third or fourth spot down the line, trying to help them improve individually so that they can move up and get more playing time. So that's kind of his style. He wants to coach and give everybody the same opportunity to get on the field and be a part of the team.
Back to '67, I coached in a place in Bakersfield, California for 1 year. And then my second year was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And decided to come back to UNI for Iowa State teachers at that time for spring ball. It might have been State College of Iowa. Eddie Lyons was a receiver coach at Northern Iowa, State College of Iowa. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm looking for a job. I'd like to get back near here somewhere. And he said, why don't you see me tomorrow morning? This, I think, was a Friday. And Saturday morning showed up, and he said, what are you looking? Yeah, I can teach business. Okay. We've got a business opening, and one thing led to another, and I had a job. It was that quick. I was defensive coordinator, and in those days, I think we had 3 coaches, head and 2 assistants, and about 30, 35 players, something like that. And back here, and away we go.
Here in the fondness of the Unidome, and it's brought back by Taylor Pine, who gets to the outside. Pine, one man to beat. Pine may go all the way. Touchdown, Tigers.
My mother, a long time ago, I grew up in a coach's family, and my father was a coach in Osage, Iowa. My mother would tell me, she says, if you're going to get into that thing, just understand it's a dog-eat-dog business, and those people across that field will do anything legally to beat you, and you better understand that, or else don't go there. And that's the way it is, and the lines are drawn, and you go like crazy, and after the game, everybody shakes hands, and good friends, and away you go. But the competition part is really fun. I mean, really fun. We've played some of the great teams in Iowa, over all those years, and it is really fun to go out there and say, hey, can we hang with these guys and maybe beat them, and and all that sort of thing, and that's been good. The Iowa Cities, the Dowlings, the Bettendorfs and things like that. So that's a part that's really fun.
The out or the fade or the corner route, and Denny throws a nice ball. That's their patented bread and butter passing play. Denny back to pass, looking for Dees. Here comes the corner route, thrown, and it's caught.
You picked a good time to break out that out of the archives.
It's just he's consistent with what he does. Year in and year out, you know what you're going to get, and you know when you're going to play a Cedar Falls team, you're going to play against a tough, fundamentally sound team. We might not be fancy and do some of the things that other schools do, but you're going to play a hard-nosed team with players that are going to play hard and they're going to hit you. And I think that's kind of the way people see Cedar Falls football, and that's the way it's been for many years, and that's the way it's going to be for many years to come.
I think the neat thing with Mitch is he's one who's always tried to stay on the forefront of the change, and you know, we've changed our offense a couple of times. It's not necessarily recognizable by the stands. We don't change just to change, though, and that's kind of a unique thing as well. If it works, we keep doing it. I mean, we have a pretty thick playbook. However, if the same play works, we'll just run it. Might be boring for people to watch, but if it's getting us what we need, you know, we'll continue to use it.
He always liked the phrase, scratch where it itches. You know, if it's working for you, stay with it until they stop it, and we'll go to something else. So you sometimes you get a little conservative. It might be a little, you know, people might think it's a little boring to watch at times, but it wins. And yeah, he would love to take the top off now and then, throw the ball deep. And I would be on the headphones, and it'd just be great because you talk about a kid getting excited on Christmas Eve. Mitch would kind of get that way when he's going to throw the ball deep, take the top off. We call it run all eights. Everyone's running a go route, and Coach Mitchell would just start going ooh ooh ooh, and you know, as soon as the ball's thrown, he's getting excited ooh ooh ooh. So you know something big's going to happen when you start hearing that in the headset.
I think he's good at trying to find out what's going on. You know, he'll be down there at Iowa and he's going to quiz them, and he'll be over at Iowa State quizzing them. I think he may have gone down to Alabama with this. Oh no, the head coach at Alabama came here. I'm sure Mitchell's asking Saban 1,500 questions because that's just it. But he's up to date. He wants to know what's going on.
There is no outside of football. There just isn't. Everything's about football, and that's the oddity of this guy, is that I said earlier, is not about winning. You would think somebody that's always scheming to win. He just loves football.
All of our conversations off the field pretty much start again with football. It's pretty much a 24-hour thought process for him, and we're always just going over things that we want to make sure that we are all correct on, and always try to improve it.
I found out something, you know, I get all these things I think are pretty good. Well, that doesn't make any difference because maybe they don't work. So what you better do is find the best in the state. At that time, Iowa was really good with Hayden. Start there. And the best one in the state then was East Waterloo, you know, and Dowling. Then suddenly Iowa City became the best team. And then our goals move up to another. And you don't necessarily copy them, but what do you have to do to play at that level, you know? And I know if I was around next year, I'm sure it'd be Dowling or Valley, West Des Moines Valley or Bettendorf. That's who the teams you have to, if you want to be good. Now, if you don't want to be good, just go out and piddle around and who cares, you know? But I always wanted to be, inside I wanted to be really good. I don't know where that come from. I just do, you know, or did, whatever. We don't play an opponent, we play ourselves. And we get as good as we can be at doing whatever skill we're doing, and let's just go play. In the old days, you used to say we're playing Fort Dodge, and let's say we hate those guys. That's so negative you can't believe it. It makes everything, it's wrong. You can't play to begin with. Your goals are just wrong. Everything's wrong. So we developed a thing where you play yourself, get as good as we can be. It doesn't matter who the other team is. We respect them, certainly. But it doesn't matter who they are. Let's just go play. And it's smooth and easy. I don't want all that happening. Just, you know, at a high level, be that way. If I have learned how to coach, I'm 74 now. I'm not sure I learned until I was 58 or 60. I mean, the whole bunch of things. And I learned then was speed. Size doesn't do it, it's speed. And hold on to the apple. Those two things. Dumb. Isn't it simple? It took a long time to figure it out. Yeah.
Looks like Ternuri's coming on the blitz. Here he comes to give it the middle to Freeney. He picks his way, and he's got a first down and more. Freeney to the 20, to to the 10. Nobody's going to catch him. He is in for the Cedar Falls touchdown. So a 39-yard run.
He cared about winning far less than people would ever think. And that might be a repeated theme amongst others. He liked to win and prepared to win. He had a consistent phrase, you never get too up about anything, you never get too down about anything, and I think it's that kind of mental approach that prepares kids to win.
He has a way of doing that. He has a way of keeping things lighthearted. Sometimes we get too wrapped up in it and everything's so serious we forget that, hey, you got to be doing this to have some fun. And he always finds a way to plug something in or make a comment or something that brings it a little lighthearted and makes the kids laugh and so forth, and realize, hey, ultimately it's still a game. We want to go out and win, but it's still a game, and we got to have some fun doing it.
Yeah, football is still just a game, but we kind of talk about it as a game of life. So if they work hard and they have some success, that's pretty much how life works also. If you put a lot of time and effort into it and do the correct things, that you'll have success. It might not come down to all wins or anything, but it'll come down to doing things correctly and finding a way through life to be successful at something.
He loved the game of football, and I think more importantly, he loved the people that were around football. One of the things that he's always talked about, if you didn't have these great kids to work with or these coaches to work with, and the time, with the camaraderie and the chemistry that you develop with people, is this wouldn't be fun. And he's right. That's what makes it fun, game planning, going out, having success, that's awesome, but being around good quality people, that's a lot of fun too.
The most enjoyable thing about coaching is take a youngster, I don't care how good or how bad, and just keep working, and little bit they get better, little bit they get better, then pretty soon they're good enough to get on the field, and pretty soon they can play and have success. That's what keeps you going. And if you can do that in the fundamentals, if they can do things right, the winner takes care of itself. Just take care of the fundamentals and help every little guy get a little bit better. It just happens. I don't worry about career records. Don't mean a thing to me, honestly. They just something that happens. Just means you've been around a long time. Survived.
Rolling out to his left, Bernard. Oh, has Howard wide open. Oh my! Fantastic catch by Howard with one hand. He hauls it in.
Kids are first, no matter what. He always takes care of the kids first. Kids, adore him, respect him. He is essentially a player's coach. I mean, through and through. First and foremost, the kids are what we're there for, and he recognizes that. He taught that.
You talk another reason why people loved him so much is there may be a kid who never saw a meaningful minute on the field as a junior. And he would talk to that kids, and go up and get their ear for 30 seconds and say, you're going to be a good one next year. Just keep at it. I see this there. And he might not have necessarily seen it in that particular kid, but he's seen it so many times where it was, kids, that growth and that belief in them. And he made people believe in themselves a lot. And again, I know that that's very cliche when it comes to coaches and people say that, but you go and interview the thousands of kids who have ever played for him, and that's the gospel truth about this man, because he genuinely believed that you were going to get it done.
Pat has always had a way to make everybody feel important, and that's from the smallest player on the team to the best player on the team to the trainers, the assistant trainers, the equipment managers.
But he finds a way to make every kid feel important to the program. And that's been something that's been neat to see over the years. It's not always the all-state superstar, it's everybody. Right on down to the managers that work with the programs.
I think he's a good man. I think he's a good human being. I think he's one of the most caring coaches I've ever been around. He just cares about people. He cares about you, and he cares about me, and he cares about every coach that he's had, and he cares about every kid that he's had. And that's not always easy to do. And that's something that I've been with a few other coaches like that, but he epitomizes really caring about the people that he works with, everybody that he works with. And I think that's the thing that makes him special.
It's that personal touch. And he didn't forget people. He never forgot to thank people. There wasn't anybody that was a little part of the program If you were a part of the program, you were a big part of the success in his mind. And he made people feel really important. And again, if you want to talk about his legacy, winning and going to however many title games that he went to over the years and all that good stuff, yeah, that's awesome. But your legacy is built by the people that have the memories of you. And he left a lot of good ones.
He develops great relationships. Everybody's included. Everybody's included in our program. I mean, he reaches out to the boosters. He reaches out to the parents. He makes sure the administration understands what he's doing, where he's going. The laundry ladies, the janitors. He recognizes the value of everybody that's part of our program. Everybody plays a role, and he makes sure that he shows them appreciation, because they all do. Everybody does. The training staff, the managers, on down the line. And he's one of those guys. He doesn't leave anything unturned. I think a number of years ago somebody told me, and it was kind of a neat deal, but at the end of the season, he writes nearly 500 thank you letters. Handwrites them. He doesn't send out a copied letter. He handwrites 500 letters. I can tell you, in 23 years of coaching, at the end of each year I get a letter from him. And it's pretty short, to the point, but he recognizes the people that are around him that help make the program successful. And he's very inclusive, and I think that's kind of a unique trait in today's world. So something we can all learn from him as well.
He kind of picked up from Hayden Fry back in the day. Hayden was real good at that, and sending handwritten thank yous. And you still see that today with Kirk Ferentz. Paul Rhodes is another one. It's handwritten from him. It's not just a card that says something typed on it and so forth. And that is something that Pat has done over the years, to really thank the people that helped the program. And it's sincere. He writes a handwritten message for everybody, down to, you look at our camp, our Fit to Hit camp, all the parents that help out and the businesses that contribute, people that help sponsor our meals during the year. We write handwritten thank yous to them, and that's to show that they're important. They're important to the program, and that's a sincere thank you that he's done each year to show his appreciation for everything that people do for Cedar Falls football.
First of all, I'll give credit to where it is. I learned that from Hayden Fry and from Coach Kirk Ferentz, those guys. Anytime you have anything to do with those guys, in 2 days you're going to get something back in the mail. So, and I thought, well, if they're doing it, and they were a first-class group, why, I wanted to be first class. That's, to me, is really an important thing. So if you do that, but you talk about, we're talking about assistant coaches, now talk about video cameramen, now talk about laundry people, now talk about bus people, now talk about field maintenance people, okay? Now talk about the media, and you talk about recruiting. I mean, that thing just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's not just 45, 50 people that are playing. There's just huge people. Our secretaries at the high school, Jane Carter and Jackie Underwood are just, they're fabulous at helping take care of things. If you don't have those people helping you, you're going nowhere. You get brick walls everywhere you go. And the least you can do is thank them. If we can get them a T-shirt or something, whatever, to say, hey, we recognize, thank you for your work. We recognize it. We appreciate it, and go from there. But there's a lot of people involved.
It's a great community. The people here are unbelievable, and you can see it at the collegiate level, and the success we're having there at the level we're talking about right now, and it's a great community.
The fans in this town are unbelievable, unbelievable. I think in every sport. I mean, they love sports. They want to win. They'll do anything to help the players. Our booster club, our parents club, unbelievable. You go in the Dome, you go anywhere on the road. I mean, that place rocks. CF rocks, boy. And if we can give them any kind of product to get them kind of excited, I mean, that's really something to coach here. And I know everybody. That's why one of the reasons we're able to get all those good coaches. They want to coach in that Dome. I mean, that part is fun. When that crowd starts raising Cain and that band goes and Go Tigers Go and all that stuff, man, there's not much like it. That's pretty good.
The Muskies are doing everything else well tonight.
1st and 10, pass out to James Harrington. Harrington makes a move to the outside, down the sideline, across the 20, and he's going to go into the end zone for a Tiger touchdown.
It's 3rd down and 15. The Tigers just missed, and they run that draw play they scored the first time, and there's Beauregard. He might do it again. to the 5, the 4, and into the end zone.
What a great experience. You know, it's kind of one of those unique opportunities where you get to go from being a player to being an assistant coach, and then more importantly to being friends. I mean, he and I are good friends, and we'll continue to be good friends. Great guy, great personality, just a good person to be around.
A solid family. I could go on, but he built a solid family. And we worked with it, and we had fun with it. And we had success with it, and we had once in a while a downer, but that's part of sports.
Right away, he gave me an opportunity, and I thank him for that opportunity. You know, he took a chance on a young kid coming out of UNI in 1995, and thrust me into coaching, and gave me a position and said, "Hey, go coach the kids." And that's one other thing that I've loved about working with Pat is he lets his coaches coach. He doesn't micromanage his coaches, and he trusts them and lets you grow as a coach. Lets you work with kids and drill the kids and do your thing. And that was great for me, and I know for other young coaches that have gone through there to get that experience. You know, he'd tutor and mentor us and give us hints and ideas and things, but he lets you coach. And I think that has been instrumental in not only me developing, but I look at some of the other coaches that he's had an influence on that came through. Aaron Wiley, who's now, he coached with us, now head coach at Bettendorf. Sam Anderson, who's now the head coach at Urbandale. Brian Woodley, who's now the head coach at Johnston. So you can see the influence that he's had by letting his former players come back, be a part of the staff, and then the success they've gone on to have as coaches.
When you get our age and you coach together, you're all the same. There's no age gap when it comes to talking about stuff, whether it's football or just telling stories and joking around. You become friends, and that's the greatest thing to me is he has become more than just a former coach that I had or a former teacher. We're friends, but he's that way with everybody. You're not a subordinate to him. You're not just a assistant coach that works under him. You're friends with him. And he treats you that way, and you can count on him, and he knows that he can count on you.
Mostly, you miss the players and the guys that you work with every day. Coach Mitchell again allowed us to go and do our deal, and that was very important. And I think probably one of the neat things is we worked hard. And football now has become, even in high school, a full-time job. And we had a lot of fun as well as the hard work. So it was a combination of things.
You know, football at CF was such a huge part of my life, and had never considered coaching. And just on a whim, he asked me one day. I said, "I think you'd be good." He probably didn't. I don't know if he thought I would or not. They probably needed a warm body to coach sophomore receivers or something. But that was the same way he would approach a kid, and then moves you along and talks to you about it, and even as a coach would tell you the good things and the bad things, but always more positive than negative. Always more positive than negative. A huge part of my professional life along the way is owed to him and all the fun that I had in 25 years as a part of the Cedar Falls program. So. We'll be great friends for a long time.
For a football coach, he's a gentleman. You know, he just, I can't fully describe, but he just cares so much. And I think you can feel it because his staff, you know, the former players that have coached for him, worked with him, that's amazing. That speaks pretty highly of him. I'm thankful to have an opportunity to spend time with him, be around him, close, and to know him, and to be a friend of his. And he has a lot of friends. I can't think of anybody I've ever heard say anything negative about him. And I think his players appreciate him, whether they played or not.
All the good memories, we say that all the time. we can bring up games and things that have happened over the last 40 years, and we still have good memories of almost everything we did. We still talk about some of those bad ones too, just to get it, you know, to kind of straighten things out sometimes. But yeah, most of it's just things that the team did and the things that we did together and how we thought of it. There's been a lot of coaches and other coaches involved in the whole process, so it's not just me and him, it's just a lot of people. But my part of it was really fun to be with him and plan, and we tried to always make it enjoyable. And I think as you get older, you have a tendency to forget some of those real hard times and heartbreakers and remember the good things. And that's a good thing. But those bad things are still there in your mind sometimes, and they do come up in conversation. But yeah, just to thank him for letting me be along for the ride. So it was really been a good time.
This whole thing is a team deal. You know, you're getting a lot of business talking about me. It's not me. It's a team. The players, you know that. The fans, you know that. Administration, you know. If you don't have a good administration, you're not going to win. I promise you, you won't. So, you know, if you want to see how a team's doing, you look right there first. Then the next thing is the players, then the coaches. And my job basically was to try to encourage the best coaches I could get to come with us. And I think over the years, wow, we've had some terrific, terrific coaches. I mean, really good, still do have. And that's it'd be hard to leave them. They're really good coaches, but boy, we had a lot of fun. I mean, we would, you know, we're giving each other the raspberries all the time, one thing or another. It just goes on and on and on. Even during games, you know, oh, that was a good call, boy, that was a beautiful call, and just enjoying it. We had a great, great time.
Henry Adams wrote, "A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops." Pat Mitchell's ripple effect on the people he has touched throughout his coaching career will continue for many years, not just on the football field, but in the classroom, the office, the home, and more. While his accomplishments on the football field are many, his impact on the community will be unsurpassed. Thank you, Mitch, for your commitment, resolution, and passion to the Cedar Falls football program. Thank you for being our coach.
Everybody says, you know, how you have things and you dream when you're a little kid. I dreamt when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, I dreamt I had a helmet on running into stadiums. That's what I dreamt about all the time. Up as I grew up and all that, you know, like I said, my dad was a coach. I was on the field or in the wrestling room. 4 years old I've been a gym rat all my life, you know, and just, you know, got to teach PE. So it's my life, you know, and I love it.